Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for The Walking Dead issue, I almost said chapter, issue 172. See, I mess that up so often, but 172 was titled Hilltop Reborn, and it exceeded my expectations quite a bit. I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was good. Because really I was expecting, okay, we're going to go back and check in on the Hilltop, whatever happens there. But we actually jumped around a lot and made good story progress with a bunch of different groups. Now, I have notes written down to go part by part with things I thought and things that happened, so let's go by that so I don't forget things. So, starting off, Yumiko says she likes Princess, and then grumpy Michonne doesn't. Michonne's still not into this. Princess has a cool-ass spear, which I am totally fine with, because like I said, I think spear is one of my favorite ideas for zombie apocalypse weaponry. I just love the idea of using a spear, because it's a melee weapon, but you also still keep your range from what you're hitting, so it's great. Just overall really a good weapon. Rick talks to Annie at the gate. Always good to see their interactions. I like Annie as a minor character a lot. It makes me sad that she isn't really in the show, so we're gonna have some other character that'll be the show equivalent of Annie, but yeah, I do like Annie in the comics quite a bit, just as the minor character they are. And Rick goes to help Mikey with planting, and again, I think this is great. I think building the relationship here with Mikey, who's been around ever since they went to Alexandria, but is just now really becoming more important-ish. I mean, I guess really still not that important, but I think it's good. I think Rick's going to be able to cope with the loss of Andrea a little bit. I mean, he's still struggling with that, but he's going to be able to cope a little by having sort of a new son to raise now that Carl is all grown up and out doing whatever it is he does with Lydia. So yeah, I like that he and Mikey are starting to build this relationship. Especially Mikey just losing his mother as well. I think it sort of works to develop them both. I love the way they use jumping around to tell the passage of time and get different stories from the characters in at the same time. Of Michonne's group traveling, of the Hilltop rebuilding, of Rick mourning. Some specific stuff that I thought was important enough to move on from here. Dante gives Maggie a map with Negan's location marked on it, which is definitely going to be important in the future. I don't see any way that won't come back into play. Jesus and Aaron are leaving for the Hilltop and eventually do so. I love not only the concept, just the concept of rebuilding, just the idea of they're in the apocalypse, but they've got like lumber and sort of a little bit of sheet metal and are putting these sort of, I don't want to say ramshackle buildings, but they're just these improvised buildings that eventually they'll start building with modern techniques again, but it's just this different way, this like postmodern is already a word and that's not what this means, but you know what I mean, the post-contemporary style that they're using to build these things. I think the entire concept is awesome, and it looks really great with the big zoomed out panel we got. I think it adds for a cool setting right now. I also love William and Maggie talking because it makes William even more of a nice guy. I really like this character a lot, and I really hope something bad doesn't happen, like the Kingdom getting screwed over and sort of rebelling against him, because that Zachary dude's kind of still a prick. And also Maggie, very distracted by something, and you know I said in the reaction, I think she's contemplating some Negan revenge. Dante and Carl working together was nice. Lydia has a big character moment where she finally has a breakthrough and she's like, working together with everyone to rebuild, I finally feel like I belong here. So I really like that. It was a breakthrough for her character. Yumiko and Magna then talk about coming out as Princess and Michonne deal with some walkers, which led to one of the funniest scenes. I really thought that scene was super funny, where Yumiko is just like, hey, me and Magna are totally super gay, and Michonne's just, congrats. And from that, both Siddiq and Eugene were both like, oh yeah, I knew. And Princess is, oh great, well, so many of my friends were lesbians. Like, I love that, and I think Princess really, I said that I really enjoyed her character, but every chapter or every issue, do it every time, I enjoy it more. I really think that she fits in well already, and the group has a really cool dynamic going on. I even said in the live reaction stuff like that more humanizes the characters. It makes you care about them more. So when the shit does hit the fan, you want them to succeed more. You care about them more if they don't. So I think just doing well at building those characters. Then Rick sees off Jesus and Aaron. He asks them to say, Yo Maggie, send Carl to be the messenger to send word back. He also says that Heath is going to be sent out to start leading patrols again soon. And then finally, Carl and Sophia get to talk. I've been waiting for forever because they haven't talked in a while, and I feel like a lot of the times, like Sophia mentioned, Sophia's been part of this group from pretty much the beginning of the series. She's been pretty much there from the beginning of the comics. And who the fuck cares about Sophia? Like, she's a character that's been there so long, yet I know very little about her, honestly. What's her personality like? Well, the hell if I really know. And I've read since the beginning, obviously, and I've been reading for a while, and it's like, I know very little about her because she's barely ever gotten any screen time. And when she does here and there, it's like she drops off for like 50 issues again, so nobody cares again. So yeah, it's good to finally get some conversation between the two of them, and hopefully that leads into a good friendship between them building back up and Sophia getting to get in some important storylines and actually do some action-y stuff, because we haven't really seen that much from her. And hopefully doesn't lead into some love triangle, jealous, squabbling thing between her and Lydia, because that would kind of suck. Just saying that those kinds of storylines usually are so overplayed by this point, they kind of suck. Maggie is awake, though, again, likely contemplating Negan revenge. Now, I say contemplating, and I'm not saying she's going to do it, because I think a good way to resolve this, maybe she ends up, we have this big character moment for her where she burns the map and says, I'm just going to leave Negan alone. I'm not going to open this can of worms. Just going to let him die, live the rest of his life, and die off in the wilderness. I think that could be a perfectly fine way to have her character accept what happened, not go after him, just let him die in the wilderness, and for her to move on and build up her new life in the Hilltop. Because we saw even when Dante asked her out, she was like, I can't do it. I'm still not over Glenn. And I think it shows her character still needs to do some healing to get over Glenn. I think that, I think that's really good, that it's long-term storytelling and that kind of thing. Even though it's been a few years, it's still fresh enough for her that it really still bothers her. So I think it's great. Rick then collapses on the grave of Andrea again, and Beta finds Jesus. Just fuck no. Why? Why Jesus and Aaron? Out of all the characters, I like a lot of the characters in The Walking Dead, but out of anyone you could kill, why? I really hope Jesus and Aaron come out of this all right. The only problem is that he snuck up on Jesus seemingly. Now, Jesus could go all ninja and turn this around because that happens sometimes with Jesus for whatever reason. So we could turn this situation around, but it's not looking too good. And we don't know how many saviors are left. I read, of course, the letter hacks afterward as usual, off camera, of course. And Kirkman was sort of mentioning that there really aren't that many left when it comes to the Whisperers. So I don't know. There aren't that many Whisperers left, but I still feel like this is too dangerous right now. Too dangerous for what's going on. Like, I could just imagine so many terrible things Beta could do to the two of them, and I don't know. Why? Why them? I'm really, I'm left at this point where I can't really discuss it or what I'm thinking is going to happen, because all we know is Beta showed up behind him. He could kill him, he could let him go, he could kidnap him, take him back, or kidnap them and take him back to the, Whisperers. Whatever Whisperers are left, we really don't have many clues of what could go on from here. He could use them to get back at Rick and them in some way, which is, I think, probably what he would most likely do. Hell, I mean, he probably wants to kill Negan more than anybody, so he'd probably use him to try to get some leverage to go find where Negan is. Maybe he trades Jesus and Aaron to Maggie for that map with Negan's location. That could be a turn of events that comes into play with the map and with Maggie. If he just shows up at the gates and says, hey, we'll trade those two for Negan. So that's a possibility. Or maybe because maybe he'll trade one for the map to Negan and keep the other as insurance in case the map is a lie. We could always see that go down. But either way, I did think the issue was really, really good. It felt like we had a lot of progress in the story moving forward. Anything else? I love Michonne's group and the group at the Hilltop are all characters I really like. I think even in All Out War I said Hilltop was my favorite group. And now, Hilltop, I still really enjoy the group at Hilltop. It's one of my favorite groups to watch. So yeah, a lot of characters are being developed pretty well. We saw a development for Rick and Mikey, of course, and their relationship, and just Rick still mourning for Andrea. Saw a lot of things with Lydia and Carl and Sophia's relationship, with Maggie contemplating things. Dante and Earl got in there a little bit, and Michonne's group had really good development, and William as well. A lot of characters are being handled pretty well right now. And yeah, I guess that is it. So yeah, as a score, you know what, I wrote down 8.25, but I'm going to give it the full 8.5. 8.5, whatever Carl does with Lydia, out of 10. And before I end this, you can go ahead and go like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. If you don't want to hear anything about the cover that was just shown for 175, but I actually wanted to talk about that a little bit because it is pretty cool. We're getting into the next big storyline or whatever, and oh yeah, that was your warning to go if you don't want me to talk about it. And the next big storyline or whatever appears to be called like New World, or at least the issue is New World Order, and that New World Order is supposed to be the start of a new big storyline with a big new group. Apparently the largest group they've ever seen. We see they have these, it looks like normal body armor, maybe just white body armor. Maybe that way so you can see if somebody's bit or something. That was the logic behind it. But they almost look a little silly and futuristic, but I think it looks fine. It's on the border of looking a little bit too weird, but I think it looks fine. And I think they said the group is going to be called the Commonwealth, so they're getting very Fallout up in here. But what I'm thinking with this group is, I said before at some point that I thought it would be really, really cool if there was just a city that didn't fall, like an entire city. The military there or whatever was able to put up almost, I guess, like The Last of Us isn't a great example, but almost like a sort of city-ish area in The Last of Us, like where you start or whatever, where they got some walls up there and there's a part of a city or even a whole city that was actually able to keep their power and water, get some walls up, and it's just a city. They have all of this, they have all these, like, well, everything they would need. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but like, imagine a city still functioning almost like a normal city, except all the world around it is gone in the apocalypse. I think that would be a really interesting setting. Like, just this post-apocalyptic city. Of course, the city's government has all these people in these white sort of military armor uniforms to deal with walkers and outsiders. But they've essentially built up and fortified this entire huge area for themselves. And if it's the largest group we've seen, that could be it. I just think that'd be such a good idea, such a good setting to send Michonne's group into. So that's actually, it's not what I'm hoping for. I wouldn't say I'm hoping for that. If it is that, I'll be happy. If it's not that, I'll be happy, as long as it's good. So I think I'll be happy either way. That's just an idea that I had that I thought would be great if that is what happens. But that's it. Either way, like if you did like the video, comment down there, tell me what you thought of this issue and all. Subscribe for more The Walking Dead, both TV show and comics. Follow on Twitter if you want. I can try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. And one more thing. If you want a link to our Discord server, ask and I'll give you one. That's it. Thank you once again for watching. I'll see you all next time.